Hey everybody, thanks for joining us today. My name is Cameron Starman. I'm with Clovity. We're a Platinum Solution Partner. Today I'm with Anuj and Derek Neal. Really excited to be talking to you guys today. We are going to be focused on ESM. I'll let them introduce themselves, but ESM, Enterprise Service Management, we are looking at a much broader expansive view of service management through Atlassian's JSM platform or Jira Service Management platform. Sorry, I will keep shortening it. We use it a lot, but just so you know. But yeah, we, as a solution provider, are really looking for different ways to be strategic and pull in different parts of an organization and be the thread between multiple departments as well. So that's what we'll be covering today. I'll pass it over to Derek really quick to say hello.
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, Derek Neal. I lead our service management business across the public sector, and I've been at Atlassian for a little over 7 months.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Cameron used acronym, so I'll say I'm AS. My name is Manoj Sachdeva. I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at Clovity. We are a Platinum Solutions Partner. Work very closely with Derek and his team on a lot of JSM implementation. I'm looking forward to this conversation today, Cameron and Derek.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. I think I'll kind of kick this off because this is a passion project for me, and Derek, you and I spend a lot of time talking about this stuff. So, just in general, looking at the landscape, I think for so long, service management was so laser focused, but they were really missing a very large piece of opportunity, right? And where we're always looking is, across an organization, what are the processes, what are the workflows that can be talked about, quantified to a certain degree, right? Or just kind of labeled out, whether it's on a napkin or on a Confluence whiteboard, or but just understood, right? What are those steps? What are those elements? And then putting those into a system and the value there. You've been in the service management world for quite some time, and you've kind of been around a lot of the products and things like that. What excites you the most right now about the opportunities that are out there within enterprise around service management?
Yeah, no, I think just service management in general, you're essentially you're defining, you're putting structure around, and you're trying to automate workflows wherever you can. I would say that what I'm seeing is the fact that organizations are finally embracing like true enterprise service management, like outside of IT. So they're going to facilities, they're going to HR, they're going to legal. I think that that's what's really exciting. I mean, I've been in the service management space for going on 10 years now, and we've always tried to push those boundaries of like, hey, start thinking about, it's not just IT, but like think about it's just workflow automation. That's what it is. Like it's workflow automation. Like we should be automating workflows across the board within every organization, and they should be tied together in a very seamless kind of unified way. Perfect examples like HR. You're onboarding somebody. Well, when you onboard somebody to your organization, you're having to work with IT. You got to make sure that they have the right IT asset set up. You have to work with facilities. Where's this individual going to sit? You have to work with finance. You have to make sure the pay structure is set up. So, we're starting to kind of see that is like organizations, agencies, and the government are finally embracing that. And so that's the exciting time, and we talk about kind of workflow automation. The automation is the key part, right? It's like, taking all these manual processes and how do we actually push those to something that an individual really doesn't have to manually do, right? So kind of some of those low touch items, like we should be able to automate that. So yeah, that's what we're seeing in the industry right now.
Oh no, by the way, that's a phenomenal way to put it, right? I mean, like look at it because one thing which I also captured was while you're automating, you're also building almost like foundational templates, which can be used by like the HR onboarding example, but the same template of assets could be actually used by another department in legal because they're touching the same pieces of the puzzle, right? I mean, the marketing team is also touching the same piece of the puzzle. Yeah. So not only you're looking at workflow automation for a certain vertical department, but in the process of that, you're building the foundation, which actually can be leveraged by procurement, by legal, by sales, by accounting, all of those functions. Actually, I mean, yeah, I didn't think it that way, but that's a very, very good way to put it, actually.
Yeah, you're establishing templates that are going to be compounded, right? You do it once, and those are going to compound to other organizations. They're going to be able to reuse those, so.
One thing, and we've been establishing bundles for HR, procurement. We're going to keep rolling down the line with that. I think everybody in different groups thinks that their workflows are a snowflake, right? It's like, well, nobody does it like me, or nobody, But when you really actually do kind of start having these conversations and breaking them down, there may be some nomenclature switch outs, right, where things are called a little differently or worked, but we're finding that there is for sure overlap within how many steps there maybe are, or, okay, well, at this kind of approval stage, we're always breaking out these two subtasks, right? And so it's like, again, automating it and just making sure that you're following all the steps. And then you brought up onboarding, which is such a critical thing, because if you get onboarding right, that is somebody's first experience within your organization, and if that goes smoothly and quickly, and you do everything, and you make sure, for your legal people, everything is compliant. For your HR people, you've covered all the things. They have all the information. They have all those pieces. For IT, right, nobody's scrambling at the end of the day to get them an email because they've been started for 2 days, and it takes 5 days to get an email spun up. So you're just able to build these in, and nobody's kind of guessing anymore where it is. And I kind of mentioned those like different silos, right? But you and I were kind of talking. The glue between actually those different areas is almost the most valuable white space for enterprise service management for all of this. And so I want to keep challenging, and us as a partner will challenge, but also just folks out there that are using Jira Service Management. Look for those spots where you can really expand and bring multiple groups that are complex processes together, because once you have that mapped out and understood, not only will everybody kind of coalesce a little bit better around what that end goal is, but it takes all the guesswork out, right? And now these processes are free flowing through the right channels without anybody having to be overly kind of monitoring them.
Yeah, and we're still seeing people still operate in email today, and you cannot analyze that. You don't understand like where things are within the process, and the individuals who have maybe submitted the initial email, they have no visibility, right? And so like we're still seeing that too. Like you have these kind of legacy ITSM or ESM solutions out there, but we're still seeing a lot of organizations with these small kind of niche use cases. They're still operating email. Put that into JSM. Put that,
Email as a ITSM tool. Actually, Cameron, I remember you mentioning this. This one of the case studies you have been working on, where literally they're using They were using JSM, but then the flow, they were still trying to manage most of it, the email. How did we go about automating that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I think we do that a lot. And there is a challenge because we always want to push a robust service catalog. So, if you have a robust service catalog, you can have the right knowledge out there to hopefully give some answers that your agents don't have to respond to directly, right? But now coming in with AI as well, and even for folks on AGC, there's still a strategy in this moment where if you can really make sure that one, either as an entity or as an entire organization, you understand what your service goals are and how you break down your service offerings when it comes to like a customer perspective. And that could be external, that could be internal, right? I always like to say we all serve somebody. I'm still a proponent of even personal SM, like just, all right, you need something, drop it into my service management platform when we get to it, right? But as this entity, right, if you can understand where your services are, and then you can start to provide that knowledge up front, right? And hopefully alleviate and maybe answer some of those questions by taking some time to do that. But that robust catalog also lets you sort on the back end much easier. Now, there's a lot of capabilities with AI, but really having the right structure on the front allows teams to work much more efficiently in the back. Identify emergency elements, specific team routing, things like that. That can all happen by just understanding, well, we do this, but this always goes to this person or to this team, right?
Yep.
And so we're always looking for those opportunities. But were you more kind of talking the AI agent element?
No, actually, maybe it'll be a good question for
Okay.
Derek. How are you seeing, like, with the introduction of Rovo now, right, which is phenomenal, right? Especially
Yeah.
like if I was a customer and if let's say I have a certain volume of tickets, and obviously I have a bunch of agents to resolve, we call it resolvers.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see with introduction of Rovo, how much of that productivity or the ticket which is or service which is not going to the resolvers and automatically getting resolved, and how like what percentage you can say definitely this can be automated?
Well, I would tell you that I've, like I said, I've been in this space a while, and I never created my own AI agent. I was 3 weeks within Atlassian. I created my own agent.
Wow.
Like that's the simple. I would say that like that's the game changer, at least for me, is the fact that it's so easy to use. I can use it, and I'm not a technical person. I can use AI. I can use AI within Atlassian.
That's a good point.
But yeah, I mean, but I would say that, you know, the combination between Confluence as the knowledge base, you have JSM as your everyday workflow automation between departments, then you have Rovo. You tag Rovo on top of that, and you talked about like case deflection, right? Keeping those knowledge base articles up to date. That's a huge value add for Rovo. Like Rovo can be that agent to keep those knowledge base articles or create refreshed ones, right? And then those can serve your end users.
Almost like an LLM.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And so that's like I look at that, I look at the robustness we have within Confluence as that enterprise scalable knowledge base. You couple that with Rovo, and it can almost take thousands and thousands of knowledge base articles, and you can tell this Rovo agent, go and create me an updated knowledge base article that I can serve up to my end users when they go and they submit a ticket on password reset or these HR benefits. So I mean, the use cases are endless.
So what I have seen is in fact we have a pretty good case study in one of the customers in public sector in Chicago. It almost reduced it by 40%.
Yeah.
The whole sort of influx with Rovo and sort of agentic structure. Like the ticket was 1,000, which were reaching to the resolvers. It's now 600 because 400 are fully automated through the agents. I mean, that's kind of what we are seeing. Like,
oh yeah.
Honestly, I mean, with the agentic structure or the building the agents, it's becoming a lot. I mean, 40 could be 50 soon, as the maturity comes within the organization.
Well, I think of it like it's compounding. So I think of like I tend to put like cases in different buckets. Like I would say, kind of low manual effort that should be automated. We should put those. We should tie Rovo to those. Automate those fully. There should be no human element except for maybe if you wanted to, someone just to hit approve, right? Mm-hmm. But then you have these others where I see Rovo is helping the agent on the back end, case summarization, automated email templates, where they can respond much faster. So you're automating 40% of the cases over here, but then over here where they do require back-end agent support, you're automating their response time. So it compounds across both of those buckets.
For sure. And I think one of the cool things that I've continually noticed is I always use AI to ask what I'm missing, right? Mm-hmm. Or so like especially from this whole thing, like once your knowledge base is robust, you could then go, hey, this is my knowledge base. Look at everything. What are we missing? Be critical, right? And then you can create those Confluence pages. So I, during some of the AI demos and things that I do, like I will take just specific disparate information. I'm like, hey, make 6 Confluence articles, and it'll literally populate them, right? Do a quick review, change what you need to, boom. And because it's so hard, and in the middle is, I think still documentation is one of the biggest hurdles, and I think that's where Rovo will really solve a lot. And like you said, you gave the agent example, right? Not only just automating that, but like, so say an agent, it's been a week, they keep getting the same ticket, right? Or they're seeing the same ticket. Well, now they can like verify, like, hey, Rovo, like, is there really a pattern here, right? What's happening? Okay, cool. All right, give you kind of a system readout in terms of, postmortem or whatever, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we need a Confluence article here. Instead of them having to stop or go to like somebody else, they just like, hey, Rovo, can you analyze this information? recommend a Confluence article that might maybe help some of these things. And so you're really just on both on the front end and the back end, right, enhancing that. And again, trying to take some of the pressure off of the human beings on the back and put that on, automations and things like that will make the actual customer service at the end of the day better, because they will be focused on the real things.
And there lies the benefit, real quick, is the fact that you don't have to go to another platform. You don't have to swivel chair to another system. Like, all that is happening seamlessly between Rovo, between Jira, between Confluence, between JSM. That's the beauty. That's what I see is the core competency.
I'll tell you something, the way I always look at it, to add to both of your points, in my head, and that's kind of how we talk when I talk to the customers on solutioning side. We have distributed the Rovo in 3 segments. One, there's sort of the Rovo, which is summary, which is out of box. JSM tickets, if a ticket goes into, let's say 2 pages of back and forth, you can just do a Rovo summary. That's like one basic. Then the way I look at sort of in a chronological order, there's an element of building Rovo agents to automate some of the workflows, which are sort of the regular workflows which can be automated. Now there's a third element which I don't think a lot of people know that, which is the Rovo connectors. Now, not only you're looking at the Confluence information or a JSM ticket information, you can connect to the enterprise like Slack, for example, and actually fetch information from there. And there's a pre-baked connectors which come, which you can integrate with and actually solve that access to information, which is in Slack or some other channel, could also help solving tickets faster. I think that's kind of how I look at it in the 3 buckets, and especially this, to be candid, this whole connector thing, which I know is maturing, is a game changer. Because now the information access all of a sudden is not limited to the Atlassian ecosystem. You're able to fetch the information from other parts.
I was just this morning actually watching a video of someone in Atlassian, and everyone's creating all these agents because it's so easy. And he created an agent to go out there, take Loom videos, and we're talking about this is where we're really getting into enterprise collaboration, right? When you link into Slack, for instance. So whenever there is a meeting that Loom is recording the meeting, he's created an agent to summarize that recording and actually automatically post it into the Slack channel. So if you're working on a specific customer to support them, let's say U.S. Air Force, right? You have a meeting with, let's say, the CTO of the Air Force. That agent will summarize that entire hour Loom video, and it'll automatically, without you having to do anything, it will send the notes directly to that account channel, so everyone's informed.
So Derek, I might not have told you this. Here is how we do internally within our organization. So right now we have implemented JSM for our sales. So every time we talk to a customer, obviously the call is recorded on Loom. Confluence notes comes. We have written agentic structure now through which the Confluence notes are taken as an input, the call is taken as an input, and almost like an assessment document is prepared as an outcome of that automatically.
That's awesome.
Using Rovo, and it's all happening in JSM queues. So when we are floating it between our, let's say, that assessment, now we did a call and a customer wants a demo. That assessment paper through a JSM queue will go to our demo team. The demo team is looking at it, preparing the demo. Then the demo happens. Again, the call is recorded. And the customer says, we want a proposal. Again, a JSM queue. And it goes, we have actually built all the agents end to end. Through in 3 clicks of the orchestration, you can actually create the proposal now.
And
right?
nobody
this
drops
is
the
all
ball
JSM
on a demo anymore.
So that's it. HubSpot is our sort of sales tracker, but underlining the whole process of sales moves with JSM.
But see, that's where I keep going back to is you're able to do that because it's not complex. It's easy to use.
Totally.
I mean, I've seen other applications. I've been a part of other organizations. It is not that way. And in order to create adoption, it has to be easy to use. It has to be for non-business users or non-tech users. It has to be something that we can use. Totally. That's a fantastic use case.
I think one of the things we are also, that's kind of, I know we are working with your team on this thing. See, I always give this example. Think about sort of an empty home. That's like the base product, big beautiful home. But then you start to put the furniture in each corner, right? And each room could be the living room furniture, right? What we have been trying to do work with your team is, how do you build furniture for each room? And when I say furniture, these are the to your original point, which we started off, enterprise service bundles, right? An HR bundle. This is specific for the living room. If you can correlate with this thing, right? A procurement bundle, which is good for the kitchen.
The real estate podcast.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what we call it, partner solution repository, right? And what that does is, when you present to a customer who's only looking at this from a HR use case, that's the aha moment which comes. Now they are able to visualize it.
That's right.
Right? And that's kind of, again, and all this is not possible if the product was sort of so super easy to use. The developers are easily able to create those agents, easily able to sort of configure it, off you go. The adoption is super simple.
Yes.
And we can get our clients caught up to speed too, because we still don't want to build something that they don't understand, right? Because at the end of the day, yes, we want you to keep coming back for us for more and more complex stuff, but if you have an idea, we want you to be able to execute that idea, because that's a really big win for us. And there's a lot of software out there where that's not happening. You're always spending, more money on more consultants to get you this stood up or that stood up. You do want to feel like you own that system, because if your admins don't feel like you own it, then we've kind of lost the thread on that one.
Well, I feel like the mindset that Clovity has is the right mindset, because I feel like the days are over that organizations are okay with having a 2-year implementation journey. Like the pace of technology is moving so fast, and they're requiring implementation consulting companies to come in and move at the pace of technology. At the pace of technology.
News knows.
That's it.
They want in weeks.
He's like, so can you do this in 2.5 weeks? You're like, we just met.
Yeah. So no, it's the right mindset that you all have, and I think that companies that don't embrace that mindset, they're going to be left behind.
Yeah. Actually, maybe it'll be a good. I know at the beginning of the HR sort of discussion you mentioned how, and maybe Cameron, you can chime in here. How are the assets shaped? Like, is it because assets are always looked at it sort of? It has a negative connotation from a point of asset is a laptop, but is it right that as a human is also an asset in JSM?
I think, that's one of the greatest opportunities, and I think you guys on purpose started segmenting or calling out assets as its own, like within the service collection. You guys pulled out assets as its own thing, and I think
now it's part of the platform.
Right, and it's now even kind of like set up in like a little more poppy in the UI on that left hand side, and I think Anuja, we're obviously getting to a point where with Atlassian's unlimited assets, everything can be an asset, and especially your employees. And we were talking about those onboarding workflows, right? How do you make sure that not only do you give every single laptop and badge and element that somebody needs to onboard, but from a security team sleeping at night, how, when that person logs off, right, from the company, how do you get all that stuff back, right? And I think there's just something very cool is there is still an element where you have to be up to date and keep your assets, especially if your humans are assets, right, or your employees are assets. You do have to make sure that thing gets updated, right? Because it's still a practice in kind of staying, on top of things, just in terms of like an organization. But if you build that into a workflow, it automatically happens.
Yeah.
So what we're seeing is you add the assets, right? And the assets are its own thing, but those always should come part and parcel with these workflows, right? So anytime something's happening where, okay, this person's coming on, well, we know we got to couple all these elements added on. All right, cool, this is turning off. These all need to come back to the org, right? And you're tracking all of that.
Well, that's the great thing about automation, right? You kick off one workflow and it's a tree structure. You kick off one, and in the case of onboarding, we're kicking off a workflow to IT. We're kicking off another one to finance. We're kicking off one to legal. We're kicking off one to facilities. And so same thing with offboarding, right? Like once that person is being offboarded, like now we're kicking off multiple workflows to regain those assets.
Oh yeah.
And I think that raises a very good point. So let's say if I am an asset, me as Anuj, and I'm onboarded. So one, and part of the onboarding workflow I'm being referred. Now, if I'm also a salesperson, let's say, so I'm also being referred there. So pretty much you're saying the assets are also horizontal, and could be correlated to, in the HR case, I could be correlated to me getting a laptop assigned. In the sales case, it could be me getting a workflow, sort of going through the sales process, like I said, proposal creation. So they're all cross-functioning, and I'm assuming the way Atlassian is offering is right now, the assets are I could be across multiple workflows, so there's no double charging there. Is that right? I mean, license level, it's sort of how it works, right?
Correct. Yeah. So from a license, I think that's another thing too. Not only like simplicity of the technology, but our licensing model. It's one line item. It's one product that covers across the full ESM spectrum.
Wow.
And it's per agent. So it's whoever's on the back end doing the work, right? So you, as a news, submit, let's say, an incident, a problem, a request, whatever, maybe a case. Like, you don't need a license. But Cameron and I, on the back end, we're trying to fulfill that request. For you, we would need a license. But it's just that simple.
And am I correct? A lot of the competitive products, they actually charge also for license for who is submitting it. And that's kind
assets,
of
submitters, all it adds up real fast from what I've seen.
Yeah. A lot of the competitors have very complex modeling. There can be user-based licensing, infrastructure-based licensing, and within each of those swim lanes, there's multiple license structures within that, right? And so it becomes very, very confusing. Yeah,
I'm confused already.
And some, they charge for every single employee within the organization. And that employee may not even go to, like, let's say the HR portal ever. Maybe once in their career they've been paying a license every year.
So
restrictive though.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, please continue.
No, I'm just thinking. I think we've touched on sort of the human submitting a request. Maybe we should touch on the topic, because that's something which I've been spending a lot of time lately with the customers asking. Is the Ops Genie replaced, like the alert management? Because that's where it's not coming out of humans, it's coming out of a server which is running, or a website which is running.
That's right.
Derek, how are you seeing that element now, the alert management piece, which is sort of the integration piece? How are you seeing customer adopting to that?
Oh yeah, it's been huge. We have a lot of customers that they were huge Ops Genie customers, and then of course we acquired them. Like we saw that, hey, they were one of the leaders in the space. So Atlassian went out, acquired them, and companies, they're loving Ops Genie. And so now we just took that technology and embedded it right in JSM.
It's so much better that way, though, because I mean, your agents and like whether it's your infrastructure team or cloud or product team, whoever's responding to that, right? Having those incidents be able to be grouped, pushed right into a workflow.
Yep.
It's everything.
But our CEO could have gone the opposite direction. He could have said, you know what? We have this product. Let's capitalize on this. Let's make it another charge. Our CEO is not like that. He is all about adoption. He wants our products being adopted. Wow. That is number one. So that's why he included Ops Genie in JSM. That's why case management, customer service management, facilities, everything, and Rovo is all included in JSM. He is all about getting customers to adopt technology and growing that. Like, he's not about nickel and diming. Let me charge for Ops Genie. Let me actually do an uplift, since we now just included customer service management. It's the same cost. He just wants you to adopt it.
Wow. No, so let me summarize for the audience. So basically what we're saying here is, one, the base product is obviously enterprise focused. On top of it, assets are included. Mm-hmm. On top of it, I know recently customer service management portal has been added now. Yep. Which was one of the sort of, it quadruples it. Then AI is already part of it.
AI is part of it.
And then alert management, which typically in traditional days used to be a separate product, is also bundled all in single license.
All in a single license.
That's amazing.
And that's a game changer. That is truly a game changer, because you would think,
that's a very
you would think that we should be charging Rovo. I mean, how powerful it is, it should be an additional charge. Nope. They include it right in the product.
Yeah.
At no additional charge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They really are thinking very user focused. Yes. in that moment, right? Because I guess at the end of the day, still procurement would maybe be signing off on these things, and it doesn't matter. It's just a line item. This is what they need. Great. But that's also like a conversation and an ask that has to happen every single year or every single procurement. Instead, we're just actually giving agents in this case, right, exactly what they need, right? Giving teams
Right.
exactly what they need, and having all of that there without being like, oh, you got to upgrade for that. Oh, you can do up to 50 alerts a month, but then if you're at 51, we're gonna have to figure something out, and we're back to opening our wallet. So I think there's definitely this long-term play and just focus of kind of intention behind what they're doing right now, and it's been fun to be a partner because I think it lets our creativity run, right? And we're not constantly being like, oh, we could do this, but we got to add this, and we're going to do this, but we got to add this, right? So it does allow us to play in a pretty big sandbox and create some pretty cool things.
I think one thing I learned recently, and I'm sure Derek, the compliment to you guys, the product guys, actually, and this was something I learned in last 3 months, because we have been doing a lot of alert management piece. I didn't even realize that alert management also has a sort of you can call it a connector ecosystem, which, like, if a customer is using Prometheus on their infrastructure, or AWS on their infrastructure, or Azure on their infrastructure, or Nagios, the traditional one, all of that is pre-integrated in the alert management of JSM. That was like, and I mean, I kid you not, we hired an engineer out of college. He was able to use it, configure it, put a bash script and triggered the whole thing and created the demo out of it. And it was literally in a day, the whole setup was done. And I mean, he had no clue about Prometheus actually to sort of the alert, because the customer said this is what we're using, and this engineer was able to do it, just leveraging the connector ecosystem of alert management.
I mean, I think it goes back to the same thing, adoption. Like, it's not just our products that Atlassian wants customers to adopt, but it's also the connections, right? Like, it's a full ecosystem. We know that we don't sit in a silo. We know we're not the only ones in the sandbox. So when it comes to adoption, you have to be able to work well with everyone, and that was that's a huge focus.
Nice. And I do, but this has been a great conversation, and I think just to kind of steer us kind of closer towards a wrap up, I did want to kind of challenge if you've made it through us this far, right? But no, in terms of just JSM, right? There is this opportunity. And it may take a little creativity on the parts of our clients, right, or with us, and we're happy to kind of help through that. But we're working with a small team, right, and this is an IT use case, but I think this speaks much more broadly to a lot of different entities, and the capabilities there is, they get flooded with tickets all the time, right, and we are working with them right now. The goal is, how do we set up a strong knowledge base? How do we set up a front-end agent that's going to answer some of those questions, right? And hopefully work on that ticket deflection. And also, like 30 to 40% of their tickets is in 2 areas, right? And it's just MFA and a password reset. Now we're going to try and as much as possible eliminate all of those requests, right? With some Okta integrations, with some front-end Rovo. Now again, AI isn't doing all of that. This is kind of a piece that comes together. But the goal at the end of the day really is to, if you're a small team, right, especially we're working in government, funds are sometimes limited, all this stuff. It takes a little bit of thought process and effort and a little bit of money to set this up. But once it is, the amount of windfall just having this in place for a few months to a year to 2 years, right? Because you set it up right the first time, and while yes, like you do have to coalesce around around a strategy, right? How are we going to do this? What works with our security, things like that. But once you have that kind of implemented and figured out, that thing is going to continue to work for you, right? And your teams, no matter how small they are or strapped they are, you're going to be able to lift some of that off of them, and that will make the rest of their work product better. So, look for your own opportunities, whether you work in HR, you work in procurement, you work in facilities, right? All we have to do is be able to map out those components and what's needed. I mean, sky's kind of the limit now at this point, right? The APIs are there, the automations are there, the AI is there.
Connectors.
We can piece that together, and we can make a lot of things work as long as we meet the security posture. But so I just challenge kind of everybody maybe listening today. Try to put your own processes in there, because if you can map it out, we can build it.
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah. I think just to wrap up, I mean, like Derek said, automation. I mean, I loved it, Derek. So I will use that term with the customer now. Anything which can be automated, and then the whole consolidated approach of alert management, about the asset management, the customer management, and then traditional sort of looking at JSM, not just ITSM, but looking at as enterprise service management.
That's right.
Creating more and more templates which can be reused.
Yeah.
I think it's a good package for a customer to sort of perceive.
No, I just want to thank you too. I mean, Clovy's been an amazing partner. Like I said, I've been here 7 months, and you guys have been fantastic.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I would refer you to any customer that I have. So thank you again.
We make it fun.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Well, thank you all for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you soon.